History Unfolded is a crowdsourced project run by the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum that's collecting articles published between 1933 and 1945. The project's goal is to track America's response to the Holocaust as it was happening. Today, we're going to explore how to find news articles for the project. The best place to start is your local library. Librarians will often know about local newspaper collections, and the museum is particularly interested in articles from small town papers. A lot of small papers are not online yet and can only be accessed through local libraries and archives. Librarians will also be able to show you how to use a microfilm reader. Another option is to search for an online newspaper archive through the History Unfolded website. First, we'll need to choose an event to focus on. I've logged in already, so to get started, we'll click on Menu, then on Browse Events. The museum has chosen a number of specific events for searches to focus on, beginning with the opening of Dachau in 1933 and continuing on through the end of 1945. It's important to look for articles only on these events instead of on the Holocaust in general. Today, we'll focus on a pre-war event, the 1936 Olympics. Clicking on this event takes us to a page with details about what occurred, including what was going on in America at the time, as well as suggestions about what dates to check and links for further exploration. The important thing to note here are the suggested date ranges. Articles close to the suggested date ranges are more likely to be accepted than those outside the ranges. At the end of 1935, the U.S. Amateur Athletic Union had to decide whether to participate in the games slated to be held the following year in Nazi Germany. After months of debate, the committee decided not to boycott the games. There are 3 separate date ranges listed for this event, so to simplify matters, we'll focus on the last one, the month of August 1936, when the games took place in Berlin. To begin our search, let's go back to Menu and click on Find Newspaper Archive. The museum has compiled a list of hundreds of newspapers, many available online. Let's see what's available for the state of Connecticut. There are 10 papers listed. We'll narrow our search to number 8 in the list, The Day of New London, Connecticut. This one is listed as being open online, which means we can do our research from home. A few of the papers are restricted and require a visit to a particular library to access. Before we start our search, let's make sure there's nothing already in the database from this particular paper for this event. We can do this by going back to Menu and click on Explore User Research. Next, we'll narrow our search by clicking on our event and by entering the newspaper name. Now we click on Search. It turns out that 10 articles have been uploaded from this paper already. Let's sort them by publication date and see if there's anything from 1936. Well, it turns out all of the articles are from 1935 or earlier. So if we find anything from 1936, it will be a new find. Let's go back to the newspaper archive and navigate back to the New London Day by choosing Connecticut from the drop-down menu. We'll click on the name of the paper, and that takes us to a page with a link to the Google News Archive. Now we're on the Google News Archive site, where the issues of the day are sorted by decade. Let's click on the 1930s, then on 1936, and then on August. Let's take a look at the August 1st edition. To get a closer look, we'll click on the full page icon, which is on the blue bar. That enlarges the paper a little. There's also a magnifying glass here, which is very helpful. In order to find what we're looking for, we're going to have to search through the paper. Stories about the Olympics are usually found on the sports page. We can use the blue button to scroll through the paper. It's important to note that sometimes the page numbers in this blue bar do not match the actual page numbers in the paper. For example, here we're looking at page 12, but Google thinks we're looking at page 7. It's good to be aware of this discrepancy so you can record the actual newspaper page number accurately. Here's the first sports page on page 16. There's a large story about the Olympics opening ceremony right at the top. To find out how to capture this story and upload it to the website, please see Part 2, How to Submit Research. And don't forget, while you're searching through newspapers, to look for editorials, letters to the editor, and even cartoons. History Unfolded is looking for all of these in addition to news stories.